Alex watched from a safe distance as the family reunited once again. He was glad that he could bring the cubs to the safety of their mother once more, but he still had the problem of how he was going to get the lioness free. For a while, Alex simply sat a short distance away from the lion and spoke to her in a reassuring manner. He had no clue just how long the lioness had been trapped for, but he realized that she must have been hungry, as she still had to produce milk for her cubs. Assuring the mama big cat that he would be back, Alex quickly ran back to his truck and drove around the area a little bit until he came upon a zebra carcass. Although the animal had very little meat left on it, he knew that it would be enough to give the lioness a little bit of a strength back. The brave man cut a large chunk off of the deceased animal and headed back to the lioness and the cubs. Upon his return, the lioness wasn't as hostile as she had been previously. In fact, she seemed quite eager to see the man again, especially as he was carrying a large chunk of meat for her to eat. Alex watched as the feline licked her lips and smiled knowingly. He spoke gently to the animal before giving her the meat. The lioness hesitantly got up and sniffed the meat before digging into her meal. Whilst the lioness was distracted, Alex saw this as his moment. He slowly and cautiously approached the lioness and quickly shot her with a tranquilizer to sedate her. Before the meds kicked in, he loosened her paw from the trap and tried to lure the lioness into the back of his truck, where he had already placed the 3 cubs in a kennel. So focused on his task, however, Alex failed to notice that the lioness had stopped eating and had gotten within a couple of feet of him. As a shadow fell over him, Alex slowly looked up to see the lioness inches away. But instead of getting angry and attacking, the lioness simply stood there. The lioness was hurt and couldn't walk properly. Alex wanted to get her into the back of the truck before she was out cold, and gave her a little nudge. The lioness understood she needed to obey, and did something completely unexpected. Before she leaped into the track to get to her calves, she approached Alex and began to rub her head against them, much like a house cat would do. Once the lioness was in the truck, Alex tied her down and drove as quickly as he could to the reserve where he lived. As Alex drove away, he couldn't help but feel amazed at what had just happened. At the reserve, he and the other workers nursed the injured lioness back to health and took care of the cubs. During that time, the lioness and her cubs bonded more and more with Alex. After a few months, it was time to bring the lion family back to the wild. Before they parted ways, the lioness cuddled with Alex one last time, as they had grown fond of him. A few years went by with Alex, not seeing any of the lions that he had helped save that fateful day. Then one day, he came across an amazing sight. A pride of lions were all lazing around under the tree that he had once used himself to have his lunch. As he came to a stop, a short distance away from the animals, one of the lions lifted his head and looked at him. Upon seeing the man, the animal quickly got up and began to swiftly walk towards him. At first, Alex was nervous, as he didn't want to be attacked by a big cat. But as the feline got closer, he began to realize that he knew him. It was one of the cubs that he had saved so many years before. Alex was amazed that he had come across him, and even more shocked that the lion seemed to remember him. Once the lion was close enough, he began to nudge his head against Alex, much like his mother had done years beforehand. Alex laughed and cautiously stroked the beast's fur before the animal withdrew and made his way back to his pride. Alex couldn't be happier. The cub had remembered him and what he had done for his family. Knowing not to overstay his welcome, Alex turned his car around and began to make his way back home. But not before hearing a loud roar from the male lion. even though he knew that it was likely a once-in-a-lifetime occurrence. Alex couldn't help but think that he had managed to create such a strong and lasting bond with the lion in such a short amount of time. And whilst he never saw them again, he couldn't have been happier with the experience that he got to share with such amazing creatures. Let me know what you thought of the story in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more amazing tales.